podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hello everybody and welcome to another Dragon's Lair Victory Pod in association with the Riverside Sports Bar, the home of live sport and banging burgers in Newport. With me as always is Gavin Thomas and Gareth Leclerc. Hello gentlemen, how are we?
Very well, very well.
Loving life. Dragons are massive and still massive, aren't we?
Dragons are massive everywhere
we go.
Everywhere.
Absolutely loving it.
Yep. And what a weekend it's been though. What a weekend, because we had a brilliant Gwent Derby at Rodney Parade between Newport and Pontypool, which I'm going to speak about a bit later. We had Newport County beating Harrogate Town. That's massive.
Yeah, love that for the county.
Massive result for the county. They're now 4 points. 4 points now above the relegation, so that's good news. And of course, the mighty Dragons flying the flag for Wales in Europe. Brilliant weekend. Ever for your Lair now, no, Gavin, I'm not going to lie. Allowing Cardiff to win the league title like that by shit in the bed. Any thoughts on that, Gav?
Don't know what to say.
Oh, he doesn't look a happy man.
He just stared at me there with an evil expression. Okay, fair enough.
A bit like, you know, last year, apart from Ebervale, I was having a terrible year sporting-wise. This year it's better. But my other team, Southampton, have really hit their form at the right time in the season. Whereas Ebervale have just gone, form now, we don't need that now. You know, it looked imperious up until about February. I've looked very poor since then.
Yeah, it's just a shame, though, that Cardiff have won the title.
It's not the real title, though. It's not the real quiz.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's disappointing.
To throw a kettle over a pub.
Absolutely disappointing for Ebervale, though. They seem to have faltered a little bit. But,
the form's been terrible, absolutely terrible. A friend of mine who goes to watch them has said the last 3 or 4 games, it's like watching a different team.
Weird, isn't it? Oh, well, never mind. Now, Gareth, we need to talk about last week. Okay, so we had a comment from one of our listeners after our last pod. And this is what he said. You know what I'm referring to. But
I do now, yeah. Chucking me up.
This is what he said. So he said, great pod again. I was a little bit disappointed that it wasn't mentioned how brave we were. So I thought, okay, that's a pithy comment. That's fine. I understood where he's getting at. So I went back to last week's pod and I looked at the transcript. And I filtered the word brave just to see how many times it was mentioned, because you have mentioned the word brave a number of times on a number of pods, but it's fine.
Of a theme, yeah.
It is a bit of a theme. We have, yeah. But I wanted to go back and find out just how many times Gareth said the word brave. Gareth, you said the word brave 17 times on last week's pod. 17 times, you madhead.
That's how brave we were. Amazing. I think a couple of beers deep as well. You do repeat yourself a little bit, don't you? But
just a bit.
We were brave. I'm not saying the word anymore, but I just stand by what I said.
I just assumed it was linked to your favourite Disney film.
But Gavin, did you note? Because when we was recording the part, I didn't notice it, but it wasn't until somebody pointed it out and I listened back and then I filtered the transcript. I was like, shit, it out. He said the word brave 17 times and I didn't pick up on it. Did you notice it?
No, but we do fall into stuff like that. You know, part of my job, I have to write technical reports, and I find when it goes through quality assurance, someone will say, "You do know you wrote the word well designed 15 times or something." I
got a little bit from the transcript. Just to give you an idea, when you read it back...
This is a great start to the pod. Cheers.
When you read it back, though, it's quite funny, right? This is just some of what you said, right? And this is genuine. Now, this is what you said. Being brave at attack has given us so much reward. And today, we were really brave. Let's stick at that. Let's be brave. Because it's been the odd game, including a couple of home games, where maybe we've not been as brave and not got the result we deserve. So let's go away and let's be, wait for it, brave. Are you sure you did have a bet with somebody about how many times you could get the word brave into a podcast? Because when I look back now, Fucking hell, you're saying it nearly every sentence.
They used to do that in university to see who could get a particular phrase into an essay, but it'd
Yes.
never be anything to do with I'd be writing about the 1920 print setting, and then someone say, oh, you've got to get the word molluskin or something.
There's definitely been a bet Gareth has had with somebody. He's going, right, I'm going to see how many times I
dear
can get the
me.
word brave into a podcast. And you did it 17 times.
Yeah, I need to broaden my vocabulary, and I think I need to read more books.
Courageous.
Right, so the reason I brought it up was I've got a challenge for you this week, Gareth, okay?
Okay.
When we talk about the mighty dragons flying the flag for Wales in Europe,
Yeah.
when you talk about the game, you are not, repeat, not going to mention the word brave.
Oh, okay. I'm
If
gonna
you do,
open up a thesaurus on Google now.
if you mention the word brave only just once, you have to do a forfeit. You will have to buy me a pint when you see me next, which will be, well, it'll be Friday, won't it? When the Bulls come to town. So you will have to buy me a pint, and you're going to buy our Gavin a pint when he comes down from Hastings for a Dragons game. Do you
No
accept the
problem.
challenge?
Yes, of course. All
Can
good.
you get through this podcast without saying the word brave?
Wow. I'll try. I'm not sure.
Okay,
Oh,
let's
dear
let's
me.
let's see. Let's see if you can do it. Right. Okay. News desk. Just one bit of news this week. Chris Coleman, he's the latest player to sign a new Dragons deal. The 27-year-old who made his Wales debut last summer against Japan has made 89 appearances for the Dragons, scoring 4 tries. Coleman said, Dragons is my home region. I genuinely love training and playing with some of my best mates, especially in front of a packed Rodney parade. He says, it feels like we're growing something together here. The playing squad, the coaches are a tight-knit group and all want to work for each other. So I'm excited to see where we can go over the next couple of years. Coleman joins Angus O'Brien, Shea Hope, Brodie Coglan and Rio Dyer in agreeing new terms. So, yeah, what do you think of that? Super Chrissy Coleman, he got linked with Cardiff, didn't he? Remember Rugby Pass or Wales Online linked into
Yeah.
Cardiff, which was a bit weird. But Coleman is staying, and I think he did all right last night. Around the park, I would say. Scrum was a bit of a struggle, let's be honest. But something I've noticed about Coleman, he's carrying the ball a lot more. Have you noticed that? He's doing a lot more around the park. His ball carrying has really improved. I don't know if you guys have noticed that.
Yeah, I think
It
he has
definitely
improved.
has. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think when he was linked to Cardiff, suddenly I think Cardiff fans started to rate him a little bit more, which was interesting.
Yeah, funny that.
And do you know what? He's always had potential, hasn't he, Chris? And not always lived up to it. But then the thought of him potentially going to Cardiff, I thought they're probably going to get his best years. You look at his age now. So retaining him is the best thing we could have done. Hopefully his best few years now are ahead of him. And he's probably put his best back-to-back performances together the last 2 weeks, which is good to see. I just think he still has a little bit of work to do at scrum time to really kick on. And, if he could sort that out, I think he's getting himself in the Welsh squad. So, yeah, good to retain Chris, local player, and yeah, hopefully his best games are still ahead of him.
Yeah, could we agree? Gavin, any thoughts on Coleman signing a new deal
Well,
or his performances this season?
Recently he's been better. I still think technically he struggles at scrummaging, which is a problem for me for a tight head. But I'm also old, and in my head, that's what tight heads do. But he is starting to improve the other side, the modern props game, which is getting around the field, carrying more. His distribution's getting better. So there is improvement there. If you, and I go back to my view that if we had somebody who could help us with scrummaging, it wouldn't help just him, it'd help everyone. But, let's be honest, we've got two Welsh international tight heads on our books, with Chris staying. It's not a bad thing, is it? It's and guys like Luke Endell and Owain and people, they're good players, but I'd rather we didn't have to use those. So having a raft of international tight heads isn't a bad thing.
No.
Yeah, we're having a bit of bad luck with Dylan and Rob out, aren't we? But I think it's worth noting as well, we can't go and just sign another South African tight head when we've
No.
got two Welsh international tight heads on the books, a non-Welsh qualified plus under-20s internationals for Wales. The WRU need to be signing off on these players. It's just not going to happen, is it? So definitely the best thing to retain him and not let him go to Cardiff and give them his best years. So yeah, glad he's staying, and hopefully now we can continue his upward trajectory.
Yep, absolutely. So there we are. Then Super Chrissy Coleman remains a Dragon. Right then, shall we talk about what happened on Saturday night?
Oi, oi. Go on then.
Dragons, I can't believe I'm saying this. Dragons have reached a European semi-final for the first time in 10 years by defeating Zebra in the Challenge Cup quarter-final out in Palma. So playing with the match, Harrison Keddy scored 2 tries, Vinny Anisi and Elliot D also crossing, while fullback Angus O'Brien, who's in the form of his life right now, kicked 15 points as Dragons beat Zebra 32-35. 2 very late Zebra tries in the final 3 minutes helped put a gloss on the scoreline, but it really wasn't as tight as the scoreline suggests. So that means then Dragons will face Montpellier in the semi-final after they crushed Connacht 45-22. So that's our reward to go to a nice easy trip to Montpellier. But listen, we're in the semi-finals, and who would have thought that? Who would have thought after that woeful performance out in Perpignan in the first round that we'd be flying the flag for Wales?
And Benetton, the performance at Benetton.
Exactly. Although, there was a caveat to that with the fact that Philo rang the changes and he put out the reserve team. So we kind of got what we deserved there. If Benetton did go full stretch. But yeah, literally nobody thought we could get this far. And here we are, semi-finalists. Amazing.
Oof.
So, who wants to go first on this one then? Gareth, do you want to?
Yeah, sure. It's just fantastic, isn't it? Dragons have got a semi, but I've got more than that. Watching, someone had to say it, didn't they? I wave a couple of layers off the old boy watching the boys marching through Europe, conquering everyone in their wake. I'm just absolutely loving it. And, back to back away victories in knockout rugby. We're literally in dreamland, and that's absolutely phenomenal. We thought, are we even going to win any away games this season? And to go back to back for the boys to bat last performance, I think is safe. To then pick ourselves up and go again was really good. And I felt last week we sort of came out to shoot our shot with nothing to lose and just threw everything at them. With this week, maybe a little bit more nervy. There was a couple of errors because it was a game where we weren't favourites, but we knew there was a big chance. We weren't underdogs either, were we? But we played smart. We kicked a few goals as well to just keep that scoreboard ticking over. And ultimately, I thought we were the better sides. We were strong. There was a period in the second half where we struggled to get out of our half, partly due to struggles at scrum time. But on the whole, we were more clinical. We just looked the better team. And at half time, I actually thought we're going to come out and hopefully blow these away now, which we did for a little bit, and they did get some consolation tries at the end. Just really pleased. I thought a lot of the players stood out. Again, you could name all of them, but obviously Keddy, man, the match was fantastic.
Superb.
Yeah. I thought Tinas as well. He's in some good form, isn't he? He's so tenacious. The one time, I know Benetton ended up scoring, but when he tracked back, made a tackle, then went for the next guy, and he just managed to get it over the line. But he just thought the desire of Tinas to sort of defend and work for the team and the rest sort of follow him is great. And I think, we're bringing people like Wyn Jones again off the bench, which gives us that good depth. I thought he was really good around the park, solid hits in defence, made a nice little break as well. So, yeah, chuffed. Thought we played really well. Played with courage. We were fearless. We were bold at times, but you could see, you've mentioned it, Gav, like on previous pods, you can see now the identity of how we're trying to play and, hitting big runners at the middle and trying to get that big, quick ball around the corner. It's nice to watch. Players like Anisi are lovely on the ball. There was times we probably left some points out there after that scintillating break from Rio, which was
how good was that though?
That was a joy, wasn't it?
From Thomas Young, if only that pass had gone. I'm not saying it definitely would have been a try, but if that pass goes to an EC, Oh, that would have been
Yeah.
possibly try the season. It was so good. But isn't it nice to see Rio back to his best, making breaks like that from his own 22? That's the Rio we know
Oh,
and love. And it's just been a joy to watch him this season. This is what I mean by he's been revitalized and rejuvenated. He just looks a completely different player, and it's great to see, isn't it?
that's it. When he's confident and when he's got the ball, he's being daring and adventurous. It's he is a joy to watch, and he's when he's backing himself. That's the real we all absolutely love, and we all want to see more of. It's just great, and he is electric, isn't he? So
Yeah.
great to see him just bursting up field. And yeah, we did fluff it, but we controlled the game for large parts, and I never really thought we were going to lose, even before we sort of pulled away on the score line. I thought happy days. So well done, boys, because that was a big ask to go away. I know Zebra aren't a great side, but they were at home, and it was a huge game for them. So to back up back-to-back away victories, absolutely fantastic. Loving it. Did anyone stand out for you?
Oh, Harrison Kedia, I thought was amazing.
Yeah,
Hasn't he been so good this season since he's come back from injury?
yeah,
He is an unsung hero of this club because, I posted on socials last night. Every rugby club has an unsung hero, and that was this Harry Keddy. I
yeah,
just thought he was absolutely terrific. His ball carrying, his work at the breakdown, and he's a leader as well.
yeah,
When Harry Keddy plays like that, he gives Dragons a chance. He
yeah,
gives us a fighting chance. I thought he was brilliant. He deserved player of the match. I mean, it was one of those games, it was like Stad, wasn't it? There were several Dragons players who were competing for that player of the match.
yes.
Tinas was brilliant. Rio was good. I thought Thomas Young, despite that missed pass, I thought Young was brilliant. He made a
Oh,
couple
he
of
was brilliant.
really
Yeah,
crucial turnovers, and if he hadn't made them, I have no doubt Zebra would have gone up
yeah.
the other end of the field and scored, a key moment. So, I thought Nyron Owen was good before,
Oh,
unfortunately he
yeah,
had to go off. And by the way, credit to Luke Pierce as well, who I thought refereed that game really, really well. When he took that knock, he's like, no, you have to go off for HIA now because the doctor's come on, but he stayed on the field. He's like, no, I want you off for HIA. So fair play to Luke Pierce. I
yeah.
thought that was really good officiating, and I thought he was fair to both teams. I never once thought, we were being harshly treated, which can happen with certain referees. Yeah, I
He's
thought
certainly
Luke
a step
Pierce
up
was
from
very good.
the rest we normally have, isn't he? He is
Oh
good
yeah,
to be fair. Yeah, I do like him.
absolutely. Yeah, and Paya come on as well, and he made an impact, didn't he? So he replaced Owen early on, but he was punching holes in the Seba defence. So he gives us a different threat to a Nyrin. But he was punching holes, he was making breaks, he was getting up other end of the field, making good yards for us. So I thought he made a massive impact off the bench. But like I
Yeah,
said, I don't think anyone really, you know, did particularly poorly. I thought every player in the Dragons
yeah.
played really, really well.
Niall Armstrong as well. I thought had some
Superb.
good
Yeah,
moments,
yeah.
especially his
It- it-
50-22. Was loving that.
oh, I know. Yeah, fantastic.
He
Again,
was
it's nice
loving
to
it
see
as
him
well.
back. It's great to see him back, though. He's a bit of a character as well, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's a great player to have in the squad. But no, I thought it was another team effort. It was fantastic. Brody played well. Martinez was great again.
yeah,
It was just a night where everyone shone, I think. I don't think anyone had a particularly poor game. I thought they were all brilliant. But for me, Harry Keddy was the standout. I thought it was
yeah.
absolutely terrific. Bit of breaking news now as we record this pod. So we got some details of our match against Montpellier. So it's going to be on Sunday, May the 3rd, kick-off, 12:30. So Sunday, May the 3rd, 12:30, out in Montpellier. The Dragons say full ticketing details to be confirmed ASAP. But we have a date. It's going to be Sunday, May the 3rd, 12:30, out in Montpellier. So yeah, just thought I'd break that news to you as we were doing this. Gavin,
Amazing.
what are your thoughts on last night? Because that was a sticky trip, wasn't it, going out to Parma? That could have, in the first half, we're thinking, oh no, because Seba did look really up for it, didn't they? But what was your take on our performance?
Calm heads won that for us.
Yeah,
We didn't panic. There were a couple of times we could have easily panicked when we were down to 13 or when they were coming back into the game, but we didn't panic and we just stuck at the game plan consistently. And we were, I think our defence has really improved. And yeah, we did concede late tries, but what we are much better at now is our physical contest after the tackle. we are good at the breakdown now. We're actually getting in there,
Yeah.
winning balls, and when we're not, slowing stuff down. And I think that's where I really like Harry Bedell because he's full, he's just full on all the time. But where Thomas Young is better than him, he slows opposition ball down so cleverly.
Yeah.
And that allowed us to reorganise ourselves so many times yesterday.
Great player for Bedell to learn from, and though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you mentioned someone, Gareth, but I think he needs a lot of credit for yesterday was Niall Armstrong, who really just give a shape and go forward, and he wasn't ponderous.
No.
But what he didn't do, because that 50-22 came out to a point when he was going to go one way, realised he couldn't, and then he's just hooked something. And I think he was pleased because I don't think he intended it to do that, but that was fine.
Yeah.
But he knew when to hold off. He was really bossing the forwards round. I thought he had a great game. And Tinas is a really interesting character because he plays more like a 7 than a
Oh,
10.
Yeah. No, you're right. I said it on last week's pod. He plays like a flanker, not a fly half.
But his distribution was really important. And and as you said, Jamie, I think when he came on, he gives something different to an Iron because he doesn't run those really sharp lines an Iron, does he? Just picks a ball up and runs at people and assumes they won't stop him, and often they don't.
Mm.
And then he was creating space for Anisi, who's a great front foot player.
Oh, I could watch an EC all day.
Yeah.
I think Robert Hunt's probably been our signing of the season. Branisi is really, really, really close for me.
Yeah, it's a close second, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely.
And what were we saying very early on? Play him at 13. Don't play him on the wing.
We said it. But to be fair, the club listened.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. So we are taking credit for it.
Yeah.
We turned the season around, basically.
Yes.
But it was just a very professional performance.
Yeah.
They knew what they needed to do. They put the foot down when they needed to. It was just, I'm not going to use the B word that Gareth's so fond of. It was a very measured performance and a very calm performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, especially like kicking penalties and, like I said, Niall dictating the tempo a lot.
But some interesting decisions because a couple of times when we could have gone for the posts, and like when Elliott scored his try, that was from Angus making a decision to go for the corner.
Yeah, which, funny enough, that was going to be my exact next point. You read my mind, Gav. So Angus, on a number of occasions, right, turned down the points and kicked to the corner. Now, I am a believer in the mantra, always take the points. I always believe in that. You keep the scoreboard ticking, take the points. And there were several times where Angus kicked to the corner and I was sat at home going, no, don't do that. Take the points. Because if you balls it up now, you got to keep the scoreboard ticking, put the pressure on Siva, make him chase the game. Angus turned it down 3 times, the posts, right? And we came away with 21 points.
Oof.
And that is brave, Gareth. That's brave decision making.
Yeah.
That's brave decision making. Because honestly, I was shouting at the TV, no, take the 3 points. For him to do that, and if it gone wrong and we lost, we're looking back and we probably blaming Angus, like, why didn't you take the points? But that was brave leadership.
That's the confidence we've got within the side, isn't it? Sorry, Gav.
No, I'm just going to say it was that measured kind of thinking. What is the best idea in this situation?
But then he took the 3 points when we needed to as well. So the decision making from Angus was spot on. It was brave. Is that word again? It was brave to do that because most captains would have taken the points. But I think we knew that Seabow was going to come back and bite us because the thing about Seabow, they can score tries from anywhere, can't they? And if they get any time or space, if you give them any opportunity, they will take it, They're a really sticky team away from home. So I thought Angus deserves a lot of credit. And I'm seeing a lot of people talk about Angus for Wales, and this is a discussion that we've had on this podcast, right? But here's the thing. honestly, I think at the moment, on current form, and I stress this, on current form, I think right now Angus is the best fullback in Wales. On
I
current form.
I would agree with you, but that's the issue for me. The fact that Angus, who is what, 32,
He's 31, I think, isn't he?
31, and
Yeah.
a good club man is the best Welsh fullback in Wales. That
I get
that's
the point you're making, but
Yeah,
he is in
that.
brilliant
Oh
form.
no, he's in the form of his life, and he is
Yeah.
the best fullback in Wales. But that's a problem because I love Angus. I don't think he's an international player
Mm.
because he has
It's-
got a ricket in him occasionally as well. And
He has, and to be fair, we've spoken
oh,
about
we
that as
always
well.
do.
Yeah.
We always
Angus
do.
does have tendency to, as things like miss kicks in front of goal that should be scored, or he'll miss touch from a penalty. And he did it against
Yeah.
Stad. There are those little things, and
Yeah,
I've said before, Angus does things I really like, and then he does things I really don't like. But since I've watched Angus, and Gareth, you're a huge Angus fan as well, we've watched him, come through the academy at the Dragons. He then went to the Scarlets. He's come back. I can't remember a time that he's played better rugby than what he is now. This is his best season in
oh,
his career, surely.
and
Yeah.
what I really like that he offers us because Tinas isn't really a playmaker,
No.
so he gives us a playmaking option further up the field. And that's quite difficult to work out what's happening, really. And throw in his kicking as well. And in terms of, kind of one of the key roles of a fullback being a kicker, he is head and shoulders above any of the other options we have in Wales, none of whom are accomplished kickers like he is.
Yeah, and I think his voice as well. It's when you watch us live, we're not the loudest back three without Angus. I think
Yeah.
Angus is the talker, and he can see so much from fullback, feeding. I think he mentioned in his post match that he's trying to feed Teen this information from what he's seeing. But when you do watch this, like we do miss that voice if he's not there in the back three. We've had young players and they've got sort of different skill sets to Angus, but he offers so much in that sort of sense as well. Because talking's so important in rugby. We're all told off constantly by coaches in our younger days, and we keep talking. You're like, what you on about? Leave us alone, blowing up my ass. But it is important. He's just
It is.
become vital for us, hasn't he? He's
And
one of our most important players.
there'd be no harm in trying him out in the Welsh squad for the game against the Barbarians at Twickenham in June.
Well, this is what I'm trying to say. So I think on current form, he is the best fullback in Wales. And I do stress on current form. I don't think there's another fullback in Wales right now in any of the regions who's playing as well as Angus. I think the only person that comes close at the moment is Jack Walsh from the Ospreys. But he's not Welsh qualified yet.
No, he's an Australian American.
Yeah. And we know that Angus has had conversations with the Wales management. They've been in touch with him.
Yeah.
So he is in the minds of the Welsh selectors. And before, I would have scoffed at the idea of Angus being in the Welsh squad, but now I just think, why not get him in there now for this Nations Championship that's coming up? Or the Barbarians game, Gavin, like you said. What's the harm? On
Give
this
him a
form,
run out and see how he
give him a
plays.
crack. Give him a crack now. I'm not
Well,
saying
that's
he's going
it.
to be first choice, but get him in the environment at least. I think he deserves that on his form now.
I think he deserves it. Yeah, you're right. And yeah, how do we know if he can make the step up unless he's given the chance?
I'm going to
So,
that Barbarians game, so I'd like to see as
Oh, are
many
you?
Dragons as possible. Yeah. Oh yeah, they throw in tickets out insanely cheap.
Give
I
him
got
away.
two. I got two decent tickets for less than 50 quid for the two. And bearing in mind, my tickets to go to Twickenham for the Wales game were over £320.
oof.
To be fair, Dragons do have good representation for Wales whenever we play Barbarians for some strange reason. So
Oh, Lloyd Faber played against Barbarians, didn't he?
that's right. When we
Oh
played
yeah.
Zebra, I think it was Dean Ryan's first season. Didn't we have 8 or 9 players away with Wales with the Barbarians? And then we ended up losing at home to Zebra because Wales basically pinched all our best players. So we ended up losing at home to Zebra. Yeah, I remember that. So yeah, hopefully there will be some good Dragons rep. But these games mean nothing anyway to the against Barbarians. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting point to discuss because I thought Angus was brilliant again yesterday. And he's turning into a really good leader, and his decision making as well has improved. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out. That's all. And have a chat about it. So, I asked Gareth this. Well, I didn't ask Gareth this. He brought it up. But I was going to ask him. Was you nervous, Gavin, at any point about the Dragons losing that game? Because how did you feel at half time? Because I kind of felt frustrated and I was a little bit nervous. How was you feeling? Did you feel at any point we were going to lose that game, in all honesty?
Me? No,
Yeah.
I thought we were going to win it.
You didn't have any nerves at all, did you, about doing the game?
We'd been down to 14 men and managed them.
Or 13 at one point? We were
Yeah,
down to 13 men at one point,
I
yeah.
knew how well how the structure was. I knew what we were doing was working. I was confident. I was almost confident before kickoff, which I never am.
Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting. So, was you confident before kickoff, Gareth, leading up to this?
Yeah, I think because of the magnitude of the game and what was on offer, a big old semi, it's that made me a little bit nervous. But as soon as we kicked off, I mean, when the team was named, I was pretty confident. It was a strong lineup. You didn't look and go, "Oh, we're patching ourselves up here and there." It was a good lineup. I had confidence in the boys, and we were the better team. I've asked us to retire Dragonsy as a bad term, but I tell you what, Zebra reminded me of the Dragons of old, where they had periods of pressure but couldn't do enough. And whenever we got down there, they just leaked tries. We were very clinical, and we just looked the much better side. Yeah, it felt confident throughout, and at halftime, I thought we were going to blow them away, and I actually thought the score might have been a little bit wider.
Yeah. See, I was nervous leading up to this game because Dragons' record in Zebra was not great. Don't forget, we hadn't won this
Yeah.
since 2019. Zebra beat Ospreys in the pool stage. Zebra have always been a decent team at home, even though they have been bottom of the league. They can upset teams in Parma. And because of what was on offer, I was really nervous because I thought, and this is no disrespect to Zebra, but it would have been a kick in the teeth to go to Paris, get that famous win over Stade, only then to go and lose to Zebra out in Parma. It would have counted for nothing. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, do you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? Well, it's like, yeah, you beat Stade, but then you can beat, Zebra when it mattered. So there was that. I just knew it was a great opportunity for us. And I was a little bit nervous. I know the bookies had Zebra down as favourites, didn't they?
It was marginal.
It was very marginal. And I think that's fair. I think Zebra were slight favourites going into this game. But a few hours before the game, I went back on my phone and I had a look at the lineups just to refresh my memory. And I looked at Zebra's lineup. I thought, yeah, there's some decent players there. And then I had a look at our players. And I saw Aaron Wainwright, Ben Carter, Idisi, Martinez, Rio. The more I looked at the teams, I thought to myself, well, fucking hell, we should be winning this. We should be beating Zebra. That's not arrogance. That's just me looking at the teams and thinking we're a better team, man for man.
Yeah.
We should win this. So I went from being slightly nervous to being confident. When the match started, and then we started, picking up yellow cards. Then my ass was starting to go a little bit. I must be honest. I was frustrated and a little nervous at halftime. But I think we said in the group chat, can Zebra keep this up for another 40 minutes? Because they come steaming out the blocks, mind. And this was a huge deal for Zebra because this was their first ever European quarter-final in front of their own fans. They were well up for this. They were well up for it. And we had to soak up a lot of pressure. But I did say in the group chat, didn't they? Can they keep it up for another 40 minutes? Will the discipline let them down? And the second half, I thought we controlled it. Those two late tries at the end, people are going on about that, but it didn't matter because the game had lost. The game was already lost by then. And we were out on our feet, mind. We had worked our socks off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were absolutely knackered. And Zebra's bench, to be fair, did make an impact. So, fresh legs running up against tired bodies. Yeah, they scored some really nice tries, Zebra, but I thought we did a very professional job in our second half. There was nothing Dragonsy about that performance, even with the yellow cards, which were the right calls, I think. To be fair, I haven't got an issue with what Luke Pearce gave those yellow cards for. Some people have said Dye was unlucky, but, it was a late challenge. I'm perfectly fine with how Luke Pearce refereed that game.
He had no choice. There'd been a couple of infringements and then Dye just mistimed it, didn't he? So
yeah. But the second half, And how many times have we seen it? Dragons, they do well in the first half, second half, they go missing in action. When the pressure comes on, the other team comes out, it's about wrestling back their momentum. We've talked about so many times, and Philo has spoken a lot this season about staying in the fight, and that's what we did.
And with Guy Richards, I've been a lot more positive about him. But God, somebody does need to kind of help him with the high ball.
He struggles under the high ball, doesn't he?
Oh, God, doesn't he?
If a team does their homework on Dragons and Guy Richards, they could target him big time. You just keep pumping up high balls at him, and then you probably get a lot of success.
His defense is getting better, but he's still not great under that high ball.
Yeah, I like Dai. He's good. He's good going forward, isn't he?
He's a trier, isn't he? He's a trier, Dai. And God loves a trier. Everyone loves a trier.
He's got a decent skill set to him as well. But yeah, and he's a good finisher. But yeah, high ball and defense is a touch of a worry, and probably why we've looked to bring in a bit of strengthening on the wing for next season. But you mentioned, the sort of mindset and all of the team. Hats off again to Philo. I know we touched on it last week anyway, but everything that he spoke about when we were in the trenches and looking awful, he kept strong to his beliefs, and it has paid off. And this now is a Philo side. You can see the players are playing for him, and I think you shared the clip on X, Jamie, of him at the end. I've watched that about 100 times. I'm absolutely loving that clip of Philo in the huddle, the boys sort of laughing, and looks like a really happy camp, doesn't it? And we're playing for each other. I just wish S4C didn't cut off from that clip, because was he about to start dancing? I'm not sure. Or doing the hacker. So he was going to do something, I think. Disappointed, but that's a brilliant clip. It really shows how tight we are as a team, and this just want to get behind them now, don't you?
Yeah, it was a lovely moment, wasn't it? It's nice to see Phil with a smile on his face, having fun.
Yeah.
Blumberger's here as well. He's pissed himself laughing. What was Philo shouting? That's what I want to know. What was he actually saying to the boys? It looked great. Everyone was loving it, having smiles on their faces. And you're right. I think that shows just what a tight-knit group they are. And I think Philo's saying all the right things as well. Like, I have criticised him. I think some of his press conferences in the past have been really dull, really uninspiring. But he's saying a lot of good things now at the moment that make me think, he gets it. He understands the Gwent mentality. He understands the work that we need to do to progress. He knows that we're a work in progress. He knows we're nowhere near the first article. But I just love the fact he's constantly talked about scrapping, staying in the fight. And I think nobody's talking about Dale McLeod either. Nobody's talking about him. I think he's been a very, very good addition to this Dragons team. I don't think Philo could do this without him. When he talks about whacking people, we laugh at it. It sounds ridiculous, but you know what? It works.
Yeah.
It really works. How good has our defence been since he arrived?
You could see from going to the Q&A, Dale and Philo, how they work together, and you can imagine them creating a happy camp. It was really easy to buy into them. I think Philo still is a little bit guarded in the interviews, and he doesn't quite let go. And probably he's not what the players see, especially by what you can see going on in that huddle. And what we've seen a bit of at the Q&A, he's got a good sense of humour. But Dale is certainly a character. I think it'd be a very different interview if you had him after the game. He'd have been saying we're winning the cup, no doubt. Like he's got a bit of energy about him. But yeah, they probably work well together like that. But yeah, hats off to the coaching team. We're playing good stuff. It's good to watch.
Yeah. And we had our doubts about them, didn't we? And I still stand by, the comments that we made.
We were
November,
right. We were right when we said those things. We were absolutely right when we said those things.
They weren't flippant comments, were they? They were backed up by statistics and, results and how the attack and everything was going. And, things have changed. So rightly so, we can give the praise where it's due. I think there's nothing wrong with that. It's good to see that things have changed. That's what we wanted. Yeah, it's certainly a team it's easy to get behind this Dragons team now, isn't it? The amount we fight in defence, we're trying to play rugby. Yeah, we haven't got the biggest budget, so we might not have the quality of other teams, but we're a team that's playing for each other, and I can certainly get behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. So hats off to the players and coaches, and we're semi-finalists.
A semi-final.
European.
It's massive.
Semi-finals.
Look at the other teams in that semi-final. They're big clubs.
And to
We're
do
by
what
far
we've
the
done,
lowest seed as well.
exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
But
Montpellier were 2 points off second in the top 14.
But we need to appreciate what we've done here. This is a club that doesn't win away from home. How bad has our away form been over years? Again, we've spoke about this on previous pods. This is not a club that's used to winning away from Ronnie Parade. We have won back-to-back away games in Europe, in
Yeah.
France and in Italy. That's not easy. That's not easy for any club, let alone a club of our stature.
No,
We should feel
not at all.
incredibly proud of what we've done here. Seriously, it's a really good achievement. No one gave us a hope against Stad. I didn't give him a hope against Stad. And against Zebra, I was nervous. I was nervous because I've seen this film before. You know, Dragons, they go out to Zebra. You think, yeah, this is going to be the moment they'll get a win. And they flopped. But not yesterday. I think this is a different Dragons team. There's still a hell of a lot of work to be done. They are a work in progress. But I do think something is building.
Yeah.
The first time in a long time, I didn't feel this under Di Flanagan. I felt it briefly under Dean Ryan in the first year, first 18 months or so. But I haven't felt it since until now. And I did have my doubts about Philo. But fair play. Fair play. The players obviously love him. I think he has changed the mindset and he's changed the culture. And that's not an easy thing to do because I think part of the problem why the Dragons have struggled for so long is to do with the culture and the mentality.
100%.
And they
Yeah.
needed someone with fresh eyes and Dale as well. Hats off to Dale to come in and go, right, come on. You're better than this. You know, let's scrap. Let's stay in the fight. It all sounds simple, but it's very hard to do to turn around a struggling team like the Dragons. And I think Dale and Philo deserve a lot of credit for that. Looking at the stats then, so Dragons had 44% possession of 51% territory compared with Zebra, who had 56 possession of 49% territory. Set piece, Dragons line-out success was 92%. The scrum was 88%.
Was
Success, that's higher than what
That's
I
not
thought.
showing when they're just shunting us and winning pens, though, is it? On their
See,
ball.
These stats are from Rugby Pass, and I do wonder how accurate they are. Because I thought that would be slightly low, because the scrum did, well,
If
it
you
did
lose a
creak.
penalty, then it goes against you as a loss. You know, it's did you get the ball on your scrum? That's what that's asking.
Yeah.
But even then, you know, it
Yeah.
was still higher than I thought.
Oh God, we were getting a tuning in the second half, particularly.
Yeah.
And that's
It was
quite
a
worrying.
struggle, wasn't it?
Yeah. Dragons made 256 post-contact meters compared to Zebra, who made 252. Both Zebra and Dragons missed 22 tackles each, but Dragons had a higher tackle completion rate of 86%. Dragons won 6 turnovers, Zebra won 3. Now, this is an interesting stat. It probably tells you where the game was lost. So, Dragons lost 7 turnovers. Okay. Zebra lost 19 turnovers.
Oh,
So, I think that tells you where the game was lost. I think if they're going to do a review on Monday morning, they're probably looking at that. That's one stat that will
Our
stand out.
line-out was a lot better as well, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, it was. In terms of plays then, Angus, he scored 15 points. He had a brilliant game. Ben Carter won 2 turnovers. For Ben Carter was brilliant, by the way. I don't know if you've touched on him yet. His defence and his maul work was absolutely outstanding.
do you know what, though? He's getting into that Aaron Wainwright realm of we don't need to mention how good he is because it's a given. It's just Ben Carter doing Ben Carter things again, isn't it? He's just constantly class. The way he holds players up in the defensive line is quality. It means we can get set and get off the line again. Oh, he's class.
I thought Ryan Woodman was solid as well. Yeah, nothing fancy yesterday, but just hitting racks, tackling
and people.
Yeah.
And to have the experience then of Seb Davis to come on. You know?
Yeah.
I thought our bench made a pretty good impact, actually. Wayne Jones was good, particularly in the loose.
Good, yeah.
Elliot D, obviously scoring a try, line out. Paya was already talked about. I thought our bench was very good. And I think that's part of the reason why Dragons have improved when they got a good bench as well. If you got a good bench,
yeah,
I think that increases their chances.
Oh,
Whereas if you got a bench full of kids,
Wasn't it?
It's just not going to work, is it?
Wasn't it a stat a year or two ago that if games ended on 60 minutes, we'd have won like 8 games or something, and we
Something
won
like
none
that,
of them.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that should, we obviously didn't have the strength in depth, did we? And the recruitment in the summer has been very good, isn't it? And it has given us that good depth on the bench. We're bringing on players with international and if not Lions experience. So, we like you said, we still got a way to go, but it's
But
nice
we're
that
getting
we
there.
we are firmly
Yeah.
heading in the right direction now. It's not hopeful. We are heading the right way. It's really nice.
Mm. And look, in terms of the URC table, the table doesn't lie. It doesn't lie, and I've said that a number of times. However, it doesn't always tell the full story. And I
Yeah.
don't think it tells the full story with us. I think we're better than our league position suggests.
Yeah.
Because I always hark back to those 3 draws. If we'd won those games, we'd be much higher up the table. We would have pulled ahead of the Scarlets. So people keep
Yeah.
talking about us being bottom 2. Yeah, we are bottom 2. Like I said, table doesn't lie, but it's not telling the full story. There is context.
Yeah.
It's about turning those draws and those narrow defeats into wins. And then we'll be further up the table then. So that's the aim going forward.
That is the key bit now, isn't it? It's about getting those bits right.
Yeah, absolutely. Keddy had 2 tries. Like I said, he was amazing. Absolutely outstanding. Aaron made 11 carries. Again, I thought he made more than that. I really doubt these rugby past that sometimes. Rio made 68 carries and beat 5 defenders.
68 metres, I imagine.
Sorry,
rather than
meters. Yeah, not carries. Yeah, 68 meters carried, I should have said. 68 meters carried and beat 5 defenders. And then for top tacklers, who do you think Dragon's top tackler was?
Oh, I'd say Keddy or Carter.
I would
Gareth?
say I'm gonna go Carter or Martinez, even though he wasn't on that long.
Okay, you're both wrong. It was Tina Stabia.
Oh,
I was going to say, Tina, just by you asking.
Imagine the review Monday. He must be looking over at the forward. I hope he gives him some shit.
So
What a
Tina's made
player.
14 tackles. Ben Carter was second with 13, and Thomas Young made 12.
Oof.
Those were the top 3 Dragons tacklers. For Tina Stabia was Dragons' top tackler.
You
I
can't
love
not
him.
love
I
him.
love him. I know.
The
I
mo-
do.
I put my hands up. I was skeptical about signing him. Wasn't sure if it was
Yeah.
the player we needed, and probably watched him without being in love with him at the start of the season. But the more you watch him, you just can't help but love him, can you?
I would like another 10, though.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we still
So-
need another 10, like an
Yeah.
experienced backup 10. Yeah.
I would like a bit like Wales used to do with Bigger and Anscombe.
Hmm.
I'd like, depending on what the game is, either starting with somebody who's going to really unleash the backs or starting with Tinas and then having somebody to run the tired legs, just having that variety.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
100%. I agree. Yep. So, yeah, there we are. Dragons are in the semi-final. They will play Montpellier, and then the winner of
Oof.
that will play either Ulster or Exeter. I think whatever happens, it's going to be looked back on as a very successful Challenge Cup campaign for the Dragons because nobody expected us to get anywhere near as close as we did.
And we've all said, though, as a pod, we need to have a crack at it. So,
Yeah. And we wanted to get out the group, and we've far exceeded that, haven't we? A semi-finals more than we had hoped and wished for. So free swing again, really. Now, isn't it? We're going to be massive underdogs. Montpellier are a very, very good side.
Mm.
They've not lost a game in this competition. They won all of their group games as well. So
they've
they're
been
taking it
rotating
seriously.
quite a lot, though. Yes,
But when they
were-
rotate for a home semi-final,
Well, they rotated for the Connacht game.
yeah, they still crush Connacht.
Yeah.
They're very, very good, aren't they? Big Billy Villapona at 8, isn't it?
Yeah, he played. He was good. So I think
I
the thing
never
with
rated him. Wayne will smash him anyway.
we
That's
talked
your
about.
Newport bias coming through.
Oh,
The good,
yes,
good
no,
Ebervale boys of Unapolis.
Yeah, they are actually.
Well, their dad played with Falatau's dad,
Yeah.
Did, yeah,
and they all grew up in Ebervale.
they
Billy
did.
played against my brother, I believe, when they were kids.
Oh, really, Loaf?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, blow me.
One went on to have, an international career and one shouts at internationals. But Yeah, I think my brother played for the Old Boys, New Bicycle Old Boys back in the day.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So we talked about this, didn't we, before we started recording about Montpellier. So the thing about Montpellier, where they did Connacht a lot of damage was their set piece and their driving maul. I think they scored like 3 or 4 tries from their driving maul. It's very, very, it's a big weapon for them. I am worried about our scrum though, coming up against Montpellier, because they did dismantle the Connacht scrum as well. And our scrum hasn't been great. We touched on it earlier. Our scrum in the second half against Zebra. To say it was creaking would be an understatement. I mean, there were a couple of scrums that went backwards. The thing about Montpellier, they're not like, Toulouse. They're not like Flair and Jouet. They'll just bludgeon you. They're strong, they're big, they're physical. It's all about the set piece for them. They'll maul you to death. They love scrums, they love mauling. And that's where I think Dragons are going to come unstuck, because I'm not sure that we're going to be able to cope with the power of Montpellier. That would be the challenge for this Dragons team when they face Montpellier. I think their attack is pretty average, actually. I don't think it's all about their forwards, really. Although Ali Price was very good from at scrum half, I must say. But that's going to be the challenge for the Dragons. Can we front up against the massive Montpellier pack? But, nobody gave us a chance today against Stad. We were heavily written off then, and we'll be heavily written off now, as you would expect, because we are the lowest ranked team left in the competition. But it's a great trip for away support, isn't it? Montpellier. They've been spoiled, haven't they? The Dragons faithful with the away trips.
I'm
Paris,
gutted I haven't been to one of the last
Parma,
two. I've got to go to this, surely.
Montpellier coming up, and
And then we're in Bilbao.
Yeah, get an easy jet up to Gatwick to Montpellier.
And we're all then, Gareth? We're in Bilbao.
And then we're in Bilbao, aren't we, for the final?
You wish, mate.
We aren't going to Bilbao.
Oh, you said we wouldn't get past Stad. Come on.
To be fair, we did say that as well. So
we're on a roll, boys.
Know.
We are on a roll. We've got
even
momentum
a stop
and
clock
belief.
is right twice a day.
No, fair play to the fans as well, making those trips. It's
they've been loud. They've heard them on the telly.
And look, we know how much the players appreciate it. So hats off to them. And I'm hoping I can get out to Montpellier. I'm not sure how, but I've got the green light, so I got to get out there somehow.
Yeah, if you can, do it.
You can get flights from Gatwick relatively easy. There's about 3-4 flights a day to Montpellier from Gatwick.
Oh, there we are then. Get booking, Gareth. And then check out your accommodation then for Bilbao.
So Bilbao is an absolute fortune. So I'll be sleeping on a piece of cardboard if we make it to Bilbao, but because there's 2 finals in it, they've hiked it right up. But or just find a 24-hour bar in it.
Well, no, the trains are really good in Spain, so you could stay somewhere else in the Basque Country and get a train from Bilbao to wherever.
Oh, well, there we go. Then.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see if we do make the final first, but then we get a little bit too far ourselves. But like I said, well done to players and coaches. Dragons flying the flag for Wales in Europe. Fantastic achievement. No one expected it. And it's just nice, isn't it? It's nice to be at the business end of the season. I'm particularly pleased as well for Aaron Wainwright, because he's going to leave now. So, I mean, having played in a big European semi-final. Like, these are the games he wants to play in, isn't it? He wants to be playing in these big occasions, which he's going to get at Leicester, let's be honest. But at least now he's going to have a crack. It's just one game away, though. That's what we got to think of, isn't it? It's just one game away from a final,
Yeah.
And then it's on the day then, when you get to the final. So, it's very exciting. Any further thoughts or comments about Saturday night before we move on?
No, all good.
Gavin? Nope. Brilliant. Okay. So, time for a bit of housekeeping then. If you enjoy the pod, please leave us a nice review. A 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify will get you a shout out. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please like the video, press the hype button and all that shit, because it does help us spread the word and make it easier for people to find us as well. So, thank you for all your support. Liking the video and your comments as well on YouTube is really appreciated. Right then, Gwent Rugby Roundup, Gav. What's been happening apart from Ebu bottling it?
Well, It's marathon or sprint, but yeah, bottling it. So SRC Carmarthen Gwent 12, Ebervale 8. Game really we should have won. Newport 31, Pontypool 29. A game I know you're going to talk about in a little bit, Jamie,
Yes.
as you were there, in the words of Max Boyce. And then into Premiership, Bargoed 21, Astrodrons 17, Cross Keys 26, Cardiff Met 36, Leslie Wanderers 57, Newbridge 27. Championship, Aberdeen 17, Penalsa 26, Aberdeen Blind Gwent 28, Rumney, the Cardiff one, 38. Treorchy 24, Talwine 20, but that was abandoned after 70 minutes. I'm assuming that was an injury. I hope everyone involved is okay. And Jamie, this is not one you'll want to hear. Honesty 31,
Oh,
great
yes.
home score. St. Peter's 82.
Yeah, that's a paddling, isn't it? As they say in The Simpsons. You better believe that's a paddling. Yeah,
That is a paddling.
yeah.
That's a
But
Padlet.
in the championship, Bedwas played in the Championship Cup at the Principality, and they were 38-29 winners over Bridgend Athletics. So the Championship Cup comes to the Dragons region.
Well done.
And Division 1, Bedland Young 36, Abergavenny 17, Dowless 19, Blackwood 10, and Nelson 57, Newport High School All Boys 0.
Ooh.
But in the Division 1 Cup, another win for Gwent, Blaenau beating Abercrave 18 points to 17.
Well done, Blaenau.
Well done, Blaenau indeed. The best valley. Division 2, Newport Saracens 37, Cwmbran 19. Cwmbran struggling quite a bit this season. Pill Harriers 21, Pontypool United 34, Rumney R1 22, Abercarn 17, and St Geneth 5, Caldicott 50. Into Division 3, Chepstow 27, Nandyglow 44, New Panteg 48, Risca 12, RTB Ebervale 28, Cardiff 20. Division 4, Crumlin 81, Pont and Fife 0.
Ouch.
Another paddling.
Yep.
Derry 33, Llanelwedd 7, Oakdale 31, Crickall 20, Tredegar Ironsides 12, Abertwysog 31, Whitehead 41, Bedwellty 17, Division 5, Abersachen 10, Betos 7, Blackwood Star 17, Haverford 8, Trinant 23, Hartridge 44. So have Hartridge dropped the high school old boys bit?
Yeah, they just Hartridge now, mate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then Division 6, Girlin 5, St Julian's High School All Boys 28, Friend of the Pod, New Tredegar 69, Old Tillarians 0,
Good, good.
and Penalta Athletics 64, Mago 5.
Lovely stuff. Is that it, Gav?
That is it.
Lovely. Just want to quickly talk about Newport and Pontypool then, the game that took place at Rodney Parade on Thursday night. So I popped along to this one. I'll be honest, I was and ahhing. I thought, oh, shall I go? Shall I just stay at home and watch it because it was screened live on S4C's YouTube? And then the missus said, well, why didn't you go? It's a nice evening. Got nothing else on. So I thought, you know what? I'll go. I pop along. It was £14 a ticket. I went, and do you know what? I'm glad I went because it was one of the best games of rugby I've seen this season. Honestly, it was very, very entertaining. Big hits, big carries, cracking tries, a great atmosphere at Rodney Parade, as we said. The travelling Pooler fans were excellent. I don't know if you saw the game, but they were making noise all throughout the game. They were very loud, very passionate. I think Pooler will be kicking themselves that they didn't come away with a win. They were 24-12 at one point, and I did think that, you know, I couldn't see Newport coming back for this because Pooler were playing very, very well. But credit to Newport, they held their nerve, they stayed in the fight, and they were clinical when they needed to be. So, you know, the reason I went to this game as well was from a Dragons point of view, there were 12 Dragons players involved in this game, so there were 6 on each team. Pontypool had an all Dragons front row of Dylan Keller-Griffiths, Sam Scarf, and Luke Yendall. And there was an interesting battle between Rodri Jones and Luke Yender as well at scrum time, which was quite interesting to watch. Sam Scarf had play with the match, rightly so. He was absolutely outstanding.
He was very good, wasn't he?
He was brilliant. And I thought he gave a very good, very mature professional interview after the game as well. I don't know if you saw it. I did put it on
Yeah.
the socials. He spoke so well. Yeah, I thought he was outstanding. I thought Joe Westwood was all right for Newport. He took his try well. Harry Ackerman had good moments, as did Noah Morgan and Brogan Leary, who both scored tries. I've been watching Newport a fair bit this season, and there is one player that's catching my eye, and that's Hunter Ward. So Hunter Ward is an Australian player who came over to Newport from the Waratahs, and he has actually played Super Rugby. So when we talked about this guy who's going to be Aaron Wainwright's replacement, and we mentioned the fact he's never played any Super Rugby, but this guy Hunter Ward playing for Newport in Super Rugby game has played. I think he's played 4 or 5 Super
Yeah.
Rugby games, so he has experience. And like I said, every time I've watched Newport, he always catches my eye. He's always been impressive, and I just wonder, is it worth the Dragons signing him up like they did with Jack Lloyd and Di Richards? Because I think this guy looks all right. And I know Dragons are, got an embarrassment Richards in the back row. We're never short of back row talent. But I think this guy looks really promising. And to be honest, he probably should be playing at a higher level than Super Rugby Cymru. I've been very impressed with him. Now, I know you have as well, Gav, because you spoke about him too, haven't you? Do you think it's worth us having a look at him, like to get him in the setup and maybe offer that deal?
Yeah, I watched the game Newport against Cardiff, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant. He looked physically on another level to the rest. And I watched the second half of the Newport Pooler game. I was away, and my wife and little one were both tucked up in bed, shattered after a day of activity. So I was like, "Oh, go on, pop the rugby on. Happy days." It's good stuff on YouTube, and I thought he looked great. He looks physically capable, like he could make that step up. I think it'd do no harm to get him in the environment. I mean, what a coup for Newport getting him in the first place, but
Yeah.
surely that's what this is for. We put him over. He looks good. If he's got the he's performing well enough, take a look at him. He looks like he'd be a good option. We're always stacked in the back row, but like we said before, so attritional, isn't it? Why not take a look at him? And I thought, like you mentioned as well, Sam Scarf, very, very good game. Good to see Rodri Jones back as well, because we could always, do with our props being fit. And Ackerman and Westwood had moments, didn't they? I think with them, I think they both had very good moments. Westwood more in attack, and Ackerman with a few turnovers. I just want to see them take the game by the scruff of the neck a bit. I know they're youngsters, but you want to be top flight regional players, if not pushing on to international players. At this level, I want to see you be the best on the park and maybe demand the ball a little bit more rather than just letting the game happen in front of them. But they are young. But yeah, they acquitted themselves well. Interesting game. I was glad I got to watch the second half, to be fair.
No, it was generally entertaining. Like I said, I loved it. It was one of the best games of the season. I wasn't expecting that. I went from and ahhing, should I go? And then after the game, I absolutely loved it.
And the noise did come across on the telly as well.
Pooler fans were amazing.
Yeah, brilliant.
They are really loud, very passionate. They were giving stick to Newport fans. You're supposed to be at home and all this. But the thing is, it wasn't the Newport fans were quiet. It was just the Pooler fans were so loud.
Good stuff.
They were great. When you got away, it makes a difference though, doesn't it? When you got away fans like that at a rugby game, whether it's URC, SRC, it really does make a difference to the atmosphere. I thought they were terrific. They had a good time, and they probably should have won. I know on Pooler Facebook pages there's some grumbling about the referee. There was a really funny moment. So Ben Whitehouse is the ref for this. And the PA announcer was announcing the team. Then she announced the official. Said, "And the referee this evening is Ben Whitehouse." And everyone just went, "Oh!" Literally, the whole crowd just went, "Oh!" But I got no issue with Whitehouse. I might be in the minority. Yeah, I think he's okay. I don't think he's as terrible as everyone calls him. Everyone calls him Ben Shitehouse and all this. But actually, I
wasn't going to say it, but
no, I know a lot of people think it. I think he's okay. I thought he did all right, but Pooler fans were happy with some of the decisions. But no, it was a brilliant game. Proper Gwent Derby. Really, really enjoyed it, gotta be said. In terms of the SRC, I just want to quickly run through a couple of things. So I got in touch with the SRC podcast lads because I wanted to find out about the upcoming fixtures now that the regular season is done. So thank you to Rob, who got back to me. So the wild card games will be Carmarthen Quins versus Pooler and Aberavon versus Bridgend. And then Rob says the quarterfinals will be Cardiff will play the winner of Quins and Pooler. Ebervale, Gav will play the winner of Aberavon and Bridgend. And then in the other fixtures, he's saying it'll be Newport versus Swansea. And then it'll be Llandovery versus RGC. And then he said the games will take place over the next 4 weeks. Wildcard games will be played on Saturday. Quarterfinals will be played on Saturday. Semis will be split over Saturday and Sunday. And then the final will be on Sunday. So that's according to Rob from the SRC part. So thank you, Rob, for that information, because I wasn't sure how the fixtures work now. It's a strange system they got in the SRC. I didn't quite understand it about the wild cards and all this. So I got in contact with SRC pod, and thank you for clarifying. Newport v Swansea is one I think I'm going to have to go to. I think that'll be a really good game. And hopefully, Gav Ebervale, they'll be able to make up for bottling the league title, by actually winning the thing.
Rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm not sure what's gone wrong there, but they seem to have fallen off a bit, haven't they? Right, okay, so that's all that done. Let's move on then to Friday night. So on Friday night, the Dragons are back in URC action. They welcome the visitor, the Bulls. It's going to be a very tough game, isn't it? That's going to bring us back down to earth, isn't it? We're all buzzing at the moment with semi-finalists. There's nothing like a game against the Bulls to make you sober up, is there? So the Bulls are currently 8th in the URC, and they're going to be looking to cement their position in the top 8. It's worth mentioning Dragons have a 6-day turnaround, which isn't ideal. It's happened to us a few times. But yeah, it's going to be tough. But I am excited to get back of Ronnie Prade and watch the Dragons. It's been a long time, hasn't it? It's been a very long time. I think it's going to be a really good atmosphere. And I would urge a lot of people to come down to Ronnie Parade on Friday night, support the Dragons, because this team are working their socks off and they deserve a hero's welcome. I think they deserve a very warm welcome. So if you can make it on Friday night, if you've got nothing planned, come down, give the players a warm welcome because they do deserve it, and watch them in action against the Bulls. So how do we feel about this one then? Again, I think, is it fair to say this is a write-off? Do we have a chance? I'm just worried that this is going to be a European hangover for the Dragons, because we did put an awful lot of energy and players were out on their feet after that game. So I think Philo's going to have to make some changes, isn't he? But he can't make too many changes because it's going to weaken the team and weaken the pack.
I suppose it depends what team they bring, really.
Well, I think Bulls are going to go full throttle because, like I said, they've had a disappointing season, I think, so far by their standards, the Bulls. But they're still the Bulls. And this scrum is very, very good. And ours is not so good. So I think that's going to be one of the areas I think we're going to struggle in. But how do you feel about this one, Gareth?
Yeah, it's probably not the game I wish we had to welcome back our heroes. But yeah, like you mentioned, we need to turn out in force and give them a bit of love for their conquest in Europe. It's a tough game. Look, the Bulls are a very, very good side. They're on the URC, they're second in the league for attack. And interestingly, we're second in the league for defence. Looking at the statistics, I'm not sure how they work it out because there's no definitive statistic on it. It must be an algorithm of them all. But it's certainly a clash of two contrasting styles. I mean, their power game, they can do everything, can't they, the Bulls? When they're on song, they are absolutely quality. I mean, they sacked their coach last year because they didn't win the league. That's how good they are and their sort of standards. It's a tough game, but no game is a write-off at Rodney Parade because Rodney Parade is a fortress and we've got a lot of momentum at home, and Friday night at Rodney Parade is particularly special. So I'm really looking forward to it. Great chance to welcome the boys back after a few weeks away, give them a bit of love, and again, take a swing at a massive side. We've got belief, we've got confidence. It's just what have we got left in the engine? So I imagine there'll be a couple of changes, and Ivan Owen will obviously be out after not coming back on the field after his knock. But yeah, I imagine we freshen it up a little bit, but I expect to see a fairly strong side or a side we're happy with. I think it'll be a close game. I can't see why we can't go out there and give it our all and take a swing at them. The teams aren't going to like coming to Rodney Parade. We have turned it around and made it a fortress this season. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. What are you thinking, Gav?
Yeah, I don't think we'll win it, but I think we'll be more competitive than we have been previously against the better South African teams because we were competitive out there.
Yeah.
So I do think we could get something out of a losing bonus point. Who knows?
Yeah,
Just
that's the thing.
very good, mate.
We were competitive in South Africa. And actually, I think that's laid the foundations for our successes in Europe
Agreed.
because we were competitive in
Yeah.
South Africa, and we probably should have come away with more than just a point, actually. We probably should have beaten the Stormers. We should have beaten the Stormers, really, and we gave the Lions a damn good run for their money. So, yeah, it's always a challenge against these South African teams, as we know, but we are at home. I think that'll make a difference. I do wonder what changes Fila will make. Like, will Levi Douglas be available? You're thinking about Rodri. I think it may be, what about Rodri Jones? We just mentioned them for Newport. Now he's fit again. Do you bring him in and give Martinez a rest or give Wyn Jones a rest? I don't know for Nyren.
I'd want our strongest props up personally.
You understand? Yeah, I mean, in terms of the tight end, we know it's going to be Coleman with Owen James or maybe
Dylan
Luke
Lewis.
Yendall.
Dylan Lewis was in the pictures in Zebra after the win in a sort of a Dragons warm-up top and stuff. So hopefully that shows he's probably very close, that at least he travelled with the squad.
Oh, it'd be really good, wouldn't it? If he could be fit for this game. Like, will we see him back? I think that'd make a big difference.
And this is, I mean, look, Bodney Parade at home is always a big game, and I want us to go and put our best foot forward. But we've got some quite important fixtures coming up. We have games that we probably need to target. I want us to target Montpellier away because it's not often you make a semi-final. Zebra away. It's quite good, really. Montpellier's on a Sunday, so we've got a 9-day turnaround from Zebra away. Because I was thinking, what sort of rest would the boys need after that? Edinburgh home and the Scarlets Derby as well. So this game isn't the be-all and end-all. Let's get out there, give the boys some love. I imagine we'll get a good crowd, and let's see what we can get out of the game. But yeah, you'd have to have a couple of changes. And yeah, will there be a change at 9? Because will Rodri be back? I think Niall deserves the shirt. But if we're going to stick with the 2 9s we've had, Morgan Lloyd's been out for a little while before he came back last week to be on the bench. Does he need a bit more game time as well if he's going to be featuring in this run-in? So do you give him the start with Niall on the bench?
I'd keep Niall at 9 personally.
Yeah.
I would as well. I think Rodri needs to fight first place, personally. Yeah. I think he should be made to fight. I don't see why we should take the 9 jersey off Niall. He's played so well. I really like him, I do. I really like Niall Armstrong.
Yeah. He's a player, especially when you watch him live, because he's so animated. The way he shouts at the forwards, gets the fans involved. He's the sort of 9 that we like, barking orders. What would you do with players like ones we can't do without, like Tinas and Angus? I know we can't do without them, so you think you have to pick them. But if something happened to them in a game that we might lose anyway, that'd be a killer for the run-in. Like, do you rest anyone important, or do you only rest those that are maybe in need of a rest? If that makes sense.
It's a good question, but this is the danger, isn't it? Like, you don't want to burn players out. But my concern is, like I said, the players were out on their feet, mind, after that Zebra game. They looked that good. And they've done a lot of travelling. We should remember that. Like, they've been to Cape Town. They've been to Johannesburg. They've been to Paris. Then they've been to Parma. So they have done a fair bit of travelling, this group. This is not... I wish we were playing anyone other than the Poles, to be honest. This is not really... if we had someone like Edinburgh at home, which we have got Edinburgh at home in a few weeks, but I'd rather be playing a team like that rather than Bulls, because you just know it's going to be high energy again. You're going to need to front up and be on it, and it's a lot to ask of these players, isn't it, to go again like that?
Yeah, they're going to turn up wanting to steamroll us, and yeah, you're right. If we pick our best team again, at what point are we burnt out? And we've got bigger games ahead.
Yeah,
I'm glad I'm not picking the team because it is a tough one. And then there are some positions though we can make changes, and there's not much of a drop.
Yeah, like Hooker. I think Hooker we can rotate.
Make a change.
We've got enough. Yeah, we've got enough strength in depth there. We don't at 10. We don't at 15.
No,
we don't really beyond the 3 main ones at centre.
No, I guess you'd probably, you could bring in Seb to start at lock or Levi if he's fit. Harry Beddle could be back for the back row. I'm happy if Shane Lewis-Hughes plays as well. There's positions where we've got a few options. Rosser could come in on one wing. But yeah, the centre's an interesting one. So if we're presuming Owen's out, would you go the Tongan pairing or would you promote Ackerman?
No, I'd have
Tongan
Paye.
pairing. I would as well.
I'd have Paye and Anisi.
They went well, actually.
They did.
They went well in Parma.
Paye is quite funny to watch because he gets the ball. You know what he's going to do. He takes a huge step about 10 meters in front of the player he's trying to step and then just runs at him. He's just makes a beeline. It's predictable, but it's very effective, isn't it?
I probably put Ackerman on the bench, mind, if Owen is not available. I think that's a good
he's someone with a bright future. Ackerman,
it's either you either go him or Joe Westwood, but I would go Ackerman personally, because if Di Richards is playing or he's on the wing, he can cover 13. We don't really want him to do that, but he can.
Yeah.
We got to be smart. That's why I think squad selection is going to be so interesting. They'll probably make some changes, but you can't afford to make too many changes against a Bulls team that's stiff in blood. Like I said, they're going to come down here. They're going to want their 5 points. They're going to be wanted to cement their position in the top 8. They will look at us as a winnable game, and they'll be targeting us. But
they have to beat us, don't they? It's a vital game for the Bulls, really.
Yeah, absolutely. For us, I just think it'd be good if we come away with a point, get a point out of it. If we score 4 tries, I'm okay with that, even if they put 30, 40 points on us. But like I said, we are at home, and I think there's so much confidence in this group at the moment. If we get a big crowd, it can make a difference. It can make a difference. But I do expect the Bulls to go strong. One player we need to look out for, and you've probably seen him if you've watched URC regular, is Cheswell Juiced. So he's a 19-year-old winger, and he ripped Munster to shreds. I don't know if you saw it.
Unbelievably rapid.
He is quick. So if he's playing, watch out for that guy, because Dragon's defense is going to be, well, he'll have to be on it because he will rip you to shreds, this guy. Like I said, he caused Munster so many problems.
What he's great, he gets the ball at depth and then just hits the line at such pace. You're like, what? And he's got a massive step on him as well.
And they got Kurt Alanviza, Winnie the Roo. You know, they got so many brilliant players. It's going to be a very, very tough challenge. But, you know, like I said, I think confidence is sky high at the minute we're at home. So let's see what we can get out of this. You never know, do you? You never know.
You never do. You never do.
Never do. If the Bulls aren't on it, then maybe there's a chance. I don't know. But do you want to do predictions for this one?
I'm going to say Bulls by 11.
Gareth?
Dragons by 1.
Oh, I'm going to say Bulls by 14. I think
the Dragons have given me no reason to think we won't win every game we play from now on.
Really? Right, okay. I'm going to say Bulls by 2 scores. I think they are probably 2 scores better than us, even at Rodney Parade, but I think we will make them work.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to see. Just make them work for their win and be hard to beat at home. This is not a winnable game. It's not a game that we're going to be targeting, but you still want to be competitive.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. They just got to be brave, haven't they, Gareth?
I'm not
courageous.
Dragons need to be brave.
Lion-hearted.
Oh, dear. Right. I think we'll leave it there for this week. It's been another victory pod. It's been very enjoyable. Whether we'll do a victory pod next week, I doubt it, but it's been great. I've enjoyed it a lot. So, thank you very much, chaps. Thank you to our friends at Riverside Sports Bar for their ongoing support of the pod, and thank you all for listening. I will speak to you next week. Up a dragon.